the Zoss Strat, decisions I made in the raid, decisions I made in the raid, decisions I made. Need to fix that. Decisions I made in the raid, the comp we used, which was a little weird, um, to get done, and how we achieved our goals. First, just going through my talents. Everything here is pretty standard up to the last row here. A lot of hunters will take Killer Cobra. The reason for that is it increases their single target damage on the boss. And the reason you take Aspect, our situation is that we didn't have a lot of classes who could passively cleave Psychophages, Thought Harvesters, and all that stuff. So this is the talent you take for cleave, and that's what we used. When the Psychophages and Thought Harvesters didn't need damage, I just played single target rotation with this talent. The difference between these talents are small. Killer Cobra is definitely harder to use, but you will get a DPS increase over it. Some hunters also take post haste if they don't have CC rotations, but I know at least 2 out of 3 hunters in my group used Binding Shot. For the gear, pretty standard with Bis Azurite from Heroic, as well as Cannonier's Mantle. Got lucky on that. My corruption setup's definitely weird. So I don't really have IS or appendage, but I just have like a lot of okay pieces. Racing Poles, Inevitable Truth, rank 2, which is not that good, but the bow, obviously, Deadly Momentum, Expedient rank 2. So there's a lot of pieces that I had. I think I used 5 total, and they were all like fairly low corruption, except for this Inevitable Truth. I got lucky I had my cash one week, and I got a Spyglass, which is why you see this trinket set up. And Crafted Ring with, I think it's the Hive Mind Heroic Socketed Ring. Essence setup for me was pretty standard. So that is what it is. Now, going into the comp here, first off, and we'll go over it later, the immunes is critically important. Now, I know there's a 9 immune and a 10 immune strat. When we were doing the strat design, both strats were brought up. I pushed for the 10 immune strat really, really hard for the reasons that it just adds an extra mechanic when you do 9 immunes. So now not only do you have to hit your immune soaks, but you have to have a DPS and your Resto Shaman do the APT totem trick during Paranoia. I think it's the second one that does that strat. I don't actually know, but I think it's the second one. So it's easy but not free, and it's just like if the difference between 2 players is small, it doesn't make a lot of sense to just not well small's the wrong word. The difference between like you can interchange 2 players. It doesn't make a big difference to do one or the other. Now, one thing you'll probably notice about this comp, 1 DH, which is rare, it's usually 2. But the main thing is 1 lock, 1 LA Shaman, and 1 Shadow Priest. So we only had 1 lock for all of progression. We do have an alt lock, or some alt locks, but we just decided to roll with 1 because it made the most sense for us. And each of these people had a role in the fight. So instead of just presetting your lock gateways, he had to consistently move gateways for our strat. And for Spike Tentacles in P1, the Shadow Priest was like handling the majority of them. So as you see here, we'll go over this later, but And this is the reason for this is we didn't have many warlocks. And we just had our warlock just slamming tentacles anyway because we had a shadow priest. And the LA shaman brings it's kind of a weird spot, right? Because you want another lock or another mage in that spot ideally, or even drop a hunter for a lock or mage. But we didn't have that. Two, our LA shaman's pretty good, and three, the LA shaman brings Windrush, Earth Elemental, funnel boss damage, mobility. They're pretty survivable in Ghost Wolf form, so they're really, really safe on the fight, considering that they're not a mage and they don't have blink. Um, and then Triple Hunter mostly was run for the immunes, as well as the rogue. Double H-Pal, so we usually only run with one H-Pal, but we went with double again for the immunes. Double Warrior, which we basically ran the whole tier. That's just something that this guild does. And the rallies are super good on progress. I know a lot of guilds take one warrior, that's fine, but having the ability to save a pool with a rally, is really, really good, which is why and warriors are, one of the best melee classes in the game. So it just makes sense to bring two, for us at least. Now, as I said with the DRs, right? So now we have Spirit Link Totem, two Devos, Barrier. All right, that's four. Two rallies. All right, so we have six DRs. And DRs are really, really important in progress currently. Now, I'm going to go over the strat here through my POV. And the decisions I kind of made. One thing to note is your damage, once you're done with prog, your damage to nothing but the boss doesn't matter. Everyone you see at the top here is cleaving shit, which is fine. That could be the role in the fight. But boss damage is what matters, period. But for a while, you need to use your cooldowns and stuff and adds to help push, which is one of the reasons why mages are so OP in P1, which we'll see. So I positioned here almost every time. Now, obviously, it's not going to be perfect, but I was always had a mage here, and I'd move around a bit, just like depending on where they'd plant. So what I do here is every basher except for this one and one other you want to nuke. So this basher and this corruptor are all going to die around the same time. So I have the first interrupt here. So instead of just like doing a focus macro or mouse over macro, I just open up on the corruptor and I do this every pull. And I'm cleaving everything. So you see my damage ticks here with Beast Cleave. And I know this kind of eclipse, I just didn't really care because sanity didn't matter after a while. And I always looked at sanity up here anyway. So I think I got the first interrupt. Sometimes someone just took it because, P1 just kept going. But anyway, so I try to get some damage on a spike tentacle, finish these off. Sometimes I just start hitting the spikes if they were getting nuked. And burst paranoia comes out. So I think I was one of the better players in handling this, considering I was in the middle. So look at this. This is actually really good. Sometimes you get a partner like this right here and you walk forward. This is going to be scuffed. So right here, I already know. Okay, my partner's here. He's semi-mobile, but he's not going to blink to me. Rule number one of paranoia. If you're linked with a mage, they will blink to you. What I don't think I can show you in this video, but what I would do is I memorized basically where everyone stands in the fight. And I know mages are going to double blink when they're faunting, except for one mage who's right next to me, so it didn't matter. So I'd like to position an area where they can double blink to me, or get really close so I can just run to them. But anyway, these red pools spawn when the tentacles die. So while the tentacles are dying, you see red pools. Now what I do here is I just stop. All right, I might lose sanity here because this was kind of a misplay, but They're just trying to get together, which is fine. So, no, I played that perfectly. So these guys came around here and got it together immediately. But what I did is I just said, okay, I see the situation. I see all the red pulls. I'm just gonna wait. You're not losing, like, so they did clip me a tiny bit, but that's okay. 95 is completely fine. Um, so you're not losing any sanity unless you're standing on players. It's just when you're separated too long, paranoia happens. So I just wait, relax, I'm being slowed, and we're good. So here we assigned people to hit each side. All right, so I think it was like 10 here, 10 here. And then my next set is here. However, if I get paired with someone across, I just need to make it over there. Damage doesn't really matter. But anyway, you're gonna move. You're always watching your partner. If you're with a healer, you're the healer's bitch, period. They need the spot heal. They need the plant and heal. You do whatever it takes. So one thing I did pretty bad at is keeping my barbershop on the boss here. This pool I seem to do it fine though. Ooh. So paranoia is removed. Everyone's free, and these spawn. Okay. So here, this basher is gonna spawn, but this mage, my resolution's not that good, but J Bloom right here, he's combusting on this basher. So it makes absolutely no sense for me to hit the basher here. So I guess I don't hit the basher 3 times. Okay, so my bad. But most people are hitting the basher full time. I just kind of had a unique role. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna open up on the corruptor. So he's see how he's combusting this? Like he's just going hard. All right. So this is really good spike tentacle RNG. Sometimes they can be like back here, and then because we don't have a druid or a shadow priest on our side, me and Snowshot kind of had to deal with the shit spike tentacles, which we did. But these are good. So like usually I'd hit the ones away, farthest away from the portal, and then I'd work my way in, which I'm doing now. So I'm just blowing this up, and then I'm going to move my pet here because that's going to die the dots and crap. And I move my pet here because I know it's going to happen. Um, yeah, people are going to start flying in and hitting the close one. So I'm just making sure that they're trying to die at the same time. I'm going to Cobra Shot a few times and leave. Something to note here is I get here late almost every pool, but notice how when these guys ran in, they keep walking. So right here, you can keep walking, just the dodge red stuff. You're going to lose your barb shot here every time. Okay. So down here, I took a lot of damage from Probe Mind. I'm unconvinced I was playing it wrong, but I'm also convinced I could have been playing it better. But there's a lot of things that went into why I took so much damage. I didn't really die to the mechanic because I knew exactly what I was going for. But as you can see here, Wind Rush is really OP. So we're gonna go in, and I'm interrupt 2. So I'm gonna plant my pet here, and this timer. I wish this had higher resolution, but this timer we need to come out. Now I'm drawing a blank. I think it's 2:30. Yeah, it's gonna be 2:30. So I plant my pet on the boss, and sometimes I MD the tank if he doesn't pick up aggro, but this time he's fine. So right now I binded these, so he mass grips and I bind. There's the bind. And so they're planted, and I'm just beast cleaving. I'm gonna hit the center up, and now I'm gonna disengage here. Okay, so I was just running, doing all that CC, and now I'm gonna disengage. You can see the range here. And we have fires. You never want to be in front of the melee, all right? So this is a little sketch, but the melee need to run from fire to fire. So I'm positioned here because I know the melee's never going to run here. I pop aspect here every time, and I just blow the crap out of these because this is the sketchiest corner around this first one. Um, Again, we're just controlling ads. I have Bestial Wrath, and we're still just... I'm never in the path, ever, where the melee's going. I'm interrupt 2 here. I threw down a tar trap that I didn't call out around here. Well, the ads were like rushing from, I want to say, 2 to 3. Keeping him slowed so that the melee just don't get clapped. I'm going to go back boss here, just get the interrupt. I'm still cleaving the ads. Now back on the synapse. I didn't. I used a focus macro for like 100 pulls. Then I decided it's probably not needed because we just started absolutely slapping Psychus way too hard. And I liked my mouse over macro. I felt it was just a little, it would be a little too much to just have like a mouse over macro and a focus macro. I just said, screw it. I'll just click Psychus, interrupt them, kind of like old school. Um, but again, never in the path, ever. So use the other range. Um, and we're just doing it. I mean, once you get past this stretch, it's pretty free. So we're just going to kill all this stuff. And as you see here, we're at 208. So we need to come out at 230. So we lust here at 210, and this is so that lust can come back up at the end of the fight. If you don't lust here, it's kind of wasted. We also have one less person down here. So blood decay. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right, so we have 8 people down here. The next group has 9. We get lust down here, which is the reason why. And we used all our melee down here except for our demon hunter for the reasons that melee and the second one suck. They're like, it's really bad because when you move, you take damage, and we won't see that unfortunately in this VOD, but it's okay. Um, and then we took hunters. Hunters can go in either one, but hunters bring a lot of execute on Synapse's melee are running away from. So like when we were crossing this corner here, once the fire came, melee just left instantly to the next one. They did not stay. And then the hunters and the Ellie Shaman would finish that one off. Um, and 1 HPAL healing. Anyway, so we're just relaxing. We have 10 seconds to get out. All right, so. And right here, I should be calling coming out in 3 because the goal is 230, right? So I'm probably saying stop, coming out in 3, 2, 1. You see me talking and we're out. All right. So one thing to note there is I didn't use Bestial Wrath when it came up. I didn't talk about this earlier. Yes, if I used it, it would have come up like 80% of the time. But why would I do that when boss damage is all that matters? For the first 80% of Prague, I was doing it. We were having consistent issues with Psychus. Boss damage didn't matter, but now boss damage does matter. So my total damage will be lower, but my effective damage will be higher. So I'm not sure if he used it or if he was just cleaving harder or hitting Psychus when I was saying stop or just got super lucky or something. But again, like literally nothing matters at this point. So anyway, we come out. And we just go on boss here, and this is a single target burn. Now, I threw bind out, and it ended up like someone just like crit the crap out of the ads, but usually those would all get bound, and we can just nuke the boss freely. And we get him like 85% here. So you can see my weak aura here, the show percentage. All right, first 2 necks. You can get away with 1, but use 2. And we had 2 healers assigned. You want to get the healer necks out of the way first in P1 and first in P3, and that's just something that you need to work out with your guild. But we liked it that way because there's no healing going on here, and the H paladins do a lot of damage, and it's just it just makes sense. It just made sense for us. But anyway, we use 2 necks when you're restoring our sanity. Note that like if you're coming out with anything over 0, you're completely fine. All right, so here I'm just slapping the basher. And paranoia is coming out here, so I have no idea who I get, so it's gonna be a surprise. Let's see what I do. So again, I've memorized where everyone stands, so I should know. Okay. I know he's to the back right of me, and he's usually one of the players who would try to get to you ASAP. But again, I'm just going to analyze the situation most likely, unless I see a clear path. Also, we got the boss to under 86%. That's really good for our comp. Some comps that have a lot of like burst classes will get it to like 85, 84 even. But like our comp is really, really good in the last phase. And like the other phase is just pure control. So again, look at this. I'm just waiting. This guy goes immediately. I'm just like, all right, there he is. we're good. And then the red stuff comes out. We have to make a read on where we each other are going, and we go. So one thing to note is that we swap sides. You might have noticed that. And this is something that was brought up mid-prog, I want to say. So first I started over there, and now I'm just going over here. All right, so this is my same group over here as it was in P1, but we just swap sides so that the portal group can go in freely. I'll show you why we did this in a second. I think Aristo Shaman brought this up to us. So for now, this is my P1 group. We've swapped sides. Paranoia, I get to him, and we finish this crap. I don't know why this basher was dying so much slower than the other basher, but we had a brewmaster there, so it was fine. Probably just lined up for who was paranoid with who and who had CDs and stuff. Anyway, there's spike tentacles up. I think this one lives with like 200 HP under kill pool, which is hilarious. Or maybe the next one. No, it's gonna be the next one. So here, I'm gonna DPS this side. I take the gateway because why not? But I'm gonna DPS this side, and you're like, okay, wait. You were assigned to the other side, but now you're on this side. Yes, because I'm assigned to this side with Snowshot for this set of ads. This group needs to go down into the Mind Grasp, or into the Mind Realm instantly as soon as it comes out. So what we do here is we want to free up the tank ASAP, and we get pretty good spine or spike crawler RNG. Sometimes they can spawn like back here, and it's just super horrible. So when aspect is up, I'll use it. Let's see if I use it here. It's kind of 50-50. So I'm calling to hold it. And again, if I use it, my damage will go up. But why? We're in so much control. The spike tentacle RNG was good. And I'm calling here, okay, group 2 get ready or something like that. You see this spawning? So group 2 is going to go stand around here. And me and Snowshot are just going to clean everything up. Now, because they had 2 less people on this side, these ads aren't dead. Okay, it's fine. Now we're here. Melee's going to run over, and we'll just clean up with our moving on the cast. All right. Here's another instance where I don't hit the basher. So this is like the outside group mechanic. So they're doing the black volley, and that's like super difficult. They're gonna have 2 mages in there combusting on the burn. They are gonna have an extra DPS. They have the Demon Hunter, the debuff, Hunter to get some execute damage on Synapse and Psychus, Druid just because they just do like high damage. Same with the Warlock. So like they have a lot of burst damage for Psychus down there. They have to beat I think the 4th set of black arrows. I'm not positive. If not, like things get super sketchy. But out here, it's not too bad. So initially I'm just moving my pet. All right. And sometimes I probably should have gone to this spike tentacle first, but I didn't see it. And I make a call, I think, for Cosmic to focus this one, and I'm going to get the back two because this mage is combusting this. So why would I hit it if it's just going to die? Like, it dies faster. Well, why can't we just kill everything else, at the same time? It's just more efficient. So they're just going to get interrupts, hopefully, and I'm going to clear up these spike tentacles. And I didn't use my cooldown here, which was actually a misclick. I usually use my cooldown here. So that was really, really bad. But every other pool, I think I use my cooldown. Anyway, these are just free to hit, so whatever. All right. The other group had assignment too. So here we have assignments for CC. I know which one I'm CCing every time. I turn to it and I CC it. The other group has a Warlock to CC, so he'll banish and fear one. A Shadow Priest never goes down for us. He can Mind Bomb. He does some kind of CC. So he's in both groups. So the other group has a Banish and a Fear, and the Shadow Priest, and I might be missing one. But anyway, we trap those 2 immediately, and I go here. The reason we kind of assigned neurons for people to hit, but eventually we just kind of figured it out. So I know this one, the mage will be hitting. So you see and he doesn't have combust, so he's weak as shit. So I get some damage into it because I'm doing a lot of front load damage. And then I'm just gonna move my pet over here because what 6 does, the warrior, he hits this one, then this one. And I put my pet here, and I just let it auto attack it consistently. So if we get a back RNG, my pet will just be auto attacking it and will slowly go down. Anyway, something that's really critical. So that we got, did I throw my bind out? I definitely should have. Oh no, he has an Earth Alley. So one thing we did is we had the Ellie Shaman Earth Alley here, and the Earth Elemental he would micromanage and taunt all these ads, which is not common, and I'm not sure. I assume other Ellie Shamans were doing that with other guilds, but we didn't see it. That's just something we figured out, or he figured out. One second. Okay. Anyway, we're gonna run over here. I didn't use Aspect. I'm sad, but whatever. All right, here I'm hitting Basher. We want to kill these at the same time. So Cosmic's just full time on spikes, and we're just nuking the living crap out of these, and we're gonna bait the ads. He's gonna pick up the ads, and we're all standing like near the Basher. We're baiting him in here, and what I'm doing is I'm looking at Psychus. Okay, so I'm looking at it, and I'm gonna make a call when it's at like 5%. Everyone hit the boss. So I definitely call everyone hit the boss. We want to start hitting the boss as soon as he's active. The rest of this shit will die. There was one spike tentacle back there that was like 200 HP for like a while, which is kind of funny, but it's not that big of a deal. Um, anyway, we get to yellow here, and I'm gonna throw a bind there, and just so that they don't move, and then these can just be taken care of by single stuns, and we're just nuking little crap at the boss. My pet gets stuck here. It's taking a lot of damage. Sometimes my pet would die. But I just beast cleave that one down. It was gonna be on my pet forever. So either my pet dies or I kill it. I guess I could feign pet, but I mean like ugh. Anyway, 2 more necks. Tank necks. Done. We're gonna go up to sanity. And everyone's like pretty healthy. I guess Shiden and Melee, Shiden's a little lower than everyone else, but you know, you don't really know why that happened. I'm gonna move my pet over here just so I can cleave with that aspect talent. And we're just gonna start going. So here we soak with 1 barrier and 1 darkness. So we take the hit. Now, if you probably noticed, all right, people are gonna run out. So there goes a mage, and that's just for his combust, like the way his combust lined up. He wants to plant his in his spot and combust. Um, and then you see 2 healers run out, and they're gonna go plant. And those 2 healers are the points of where we all deal with stuff. So there's 2 healers and a mage out there just absolutely blasting when we're doing all the soaking. Anyway, pulls come out. We wait for the pulls to go on you because it does damage before you move. All right, so we're in the barrier for the DR. Pulls come out, it applies to us, then we move. And I know my spot. It's right next to AC. He's one of the planners. Done. Don't move. And then here, this guy's not supposed to be here. I'm not sure why he was, but I always planned a way out. So I knew, okay, I'm just gonna go this way. Usually I would go that way, but there's someone there. These beams can spawn in 3 locations. Try the beat right for 2 of them. If you can't beat right for 1 of them, it's not a huge deal, especially with an Alley Shaman with Windrush, or I guess Resto Shamans really should not be running that. Anyway, I'm calling beat right. We do, and then we're going to all stack in close. So I'm just moving my pet here so I can cleave. But, all right. Next Anguish goes out. SLT Windrush. So we're ready to go. And this SLT came out. We all took the DR from the SLT. We're waiting until the beam disappears. All right, so that's the important thing. Once this beam disappears, we're good to go. And the slot will die, don't worry about that. Anyway, beam disappears, we go again. Like, we had assigned spots, but they were never perfect, and eventually you kind of know where to stand, so I always knew I'd be like right at the lip here. Like a little behind. Sometimes I was back here, sometimes I was here. Depends who slowed by their corruption. who's at a position. You have to be able to make a read. Now, the way we did this is you can see like a U, right? So you have melee here, and then like a U. And this was really, really good drop by us. Some guilds try to come back compact into melee, and I have no idea why. It makes no sense. Anyway, here Paranoia comes out, and you need to run right for Paranoia. Now, I don't have a lot of mobility. I don't want to use Aspect just in case. I already disengaged. I guess it just came back up, but I mean, at that point, it's too late. And I don't want to run into this wall of all the decent mobility people. So what I do is I just find an open spot and spread. And I just run to my partner, and this is away, so we just get away. And making two lines here, we always called for push right, push left. So here, this is not good. All right, so all these dudes can probably shift over one, and we can cut out a whole vertical row, but it's not a huge deal. It just makes the next part a little harder. So I tried the barb shot at the last second to keep my 3 stacks. There's something, a little tip. So here, again, what I'm going to call is we're going to, when Anguish is casted and it's ticking down, this old stuff grows, all right? So initially, we'd have people just running right up on the edge. All right, that's bad. And the reason it's bad is because it's growing. So what I called is 5 yards away, and I use my cape there. That's actually really good. So 5 yards away, and I'm still adjusting a little. And if you get plant 5 yards away initially, when it grows, you should be okay. And we're good. Boom, drop. And again, I plan my way out. And okay, now it's first immunes. We used 1 hunter, 2 mages, double HPAL. It would have been more optimal. We found out like the last day to do triple or double hunter, double HPAL. No, sorry. Triple mage, double HPAL would have been the most efficient way, just the way the immunes line up at the end of the fight. But it was too late to adjust, so whatever, I'm in there, who cares? I take the immune, and I'm going to wait for this cast to go off. Immunes do not let you get anguish, so I'm just chilling. And I put barb shot on right before I did my immune. So once I see this wave go past me, I know I'm not getting the anguish. So I'm going to cancel here, and I'm going to barb shot immediately. And that keeps 3 stacks. We wiped this beam more than 15, 20 times. I wasn't involved in it. They basically have to make a read if they're going to beat right or stay left. And it's not something I can comment, except, if you're closer, it's definitely harder. But anyway, they get a favorable spawn. They're going to beat right, and they do. Anyway, I'm just moving around. It's not a big deal. Again, see this? I'm still cleaving these ads. This is immune 2, and then we're going to get paranoia. We up to this paranoia a lot too. This one's pretty difficult. So they're going to take the immune. Well, that's easy. But everyone needs to push right here because these beams are going to come and they're going to push you left. So he's kind of messing. Like, I know he's casting, but we should be giving these people more room to move right. And then there they go. We should have given more room earlier. But when we beat right, except for this group over here, I think there might be 1 people over there. They're moving backwards. Yeah. You just have to move backwards. Like if you have 1 or 2 people over, it's not a huge deal. But anyway, you got to beat those beams right. So when you're doing that, push right, push right, push right, push right. You have to keep making that call. Anyway, from here it's smooth sailing the P4. So we had our range just kind of like get near the gateway where they wanted to stand. And he'd set up a warlock gate here. Melee would be on the left so they can take the gateway and go. Rolf will set up this weak aura so we know when to click the gateway. In terms of our strat, I always decided that we went in early so we can just kind of handle the mechanics down there instead of like min-maxing by like every single point of a percent. The goal here is under 40, depending on your comp. As I said, our comp's like really shit, like damage wise for the first three phases. Um, so like I think like Friendly Banter, who killed it like literally 20 minutes after us, they had like a really OP comp for single target, and they were like pushing it like 37 or 36%, and we're gonna like barely break 40 on our best pulls. So we're just burning them. And then click gateway, boom, the weak aura goes, we go. There's like definitely like a second leeway in there. And we get them like 39.8 or something. It'll show up my weak aura. 39.47. So here we have assignments, and it's not clear. They're actually right here, disarms. So first is me and six. So he's his melee, so he's gonna take the melee one, and I'm gonna run out in the middle. Instantly grab. They're using next, that's fine. Running in, getting on this wall. You have to be playing on this wall like the whole time. When the bombs go off, they do so much damage. Here, dark matters, and we're spreading, and then number two is coming. So it's triple mage, they're already positioned, they're gonna grab and they're gonna blink away if it's grab. Done. And then I'm back here because I want to give melee room, like look how hell that is. And when we come in, these annihilates go to the sides, they never go in the middle of the room. They're always on the sides. Always. Always. Again, the bomb's gonna go up in 5 seconds. Look where we all are, right on this wall. Look where these annihilates are, on these walls. So I spirit mended him there to it wasn't really needed, but I knew he was gonna take more damage because he was dropping the annihilate off. One thing to note, I haven't used my cooldowns. I didn't even use my next Bestial Wrath. We're stopping damage anyway down here, so what's the point? Like, I could get another Bestial Wrath in. I could barb shot the boss a bunch to get it to reproc, but who cares? Like, all that matters is N'Zoth damage. When you first get down here, you just want to blast living crap out of this. Like, second pot, every cooldown, try to get out. But once you, like, learn the ins and outs with the disarms and the positions and all that stuff, um, you just kind of know what to do. And I'm trying to pull up something that we had. Give me 10 seconds if I can try to find it. Perfect. So we had this. All right. So when I made groups, this is the boss, and this is where we're stacking the whole time. Melee one, middle one. These are the patterns, right? So we had assignments for all these players, and they knew what to do every time. Anyway, we're trying to wait for the Stark Matter cast. It's coming here in 12 seconds. So we're calling the stop damage now. My pet's just auto-attacking. I could have put it on passive, but it doesn't really matter. But I'm literally just chilling. Like, besides my pet's auto-attacking, we're just waiting for Dark Matter. The reason for that is we want this to cast and we want to get healed a little before we go. We're also milking the Lust timer, right? So, like, our Lust is going to come up, like, last second when we need it. So we don't want to rush out of here. Bombs go off. Then we push during the Dark Matter cast. Healers go, 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 go. Tanks go. DPS go. So I'm calling tanks go, DPS go. And the reason for that is the Thought Harvesters spawn on the tanks. Or sorry, or we don't know if the thought, like they used to only spawn on tanks, and I'm convinced now they only spawn on tanks, even though in the past they wouldn't. But it's okay. It's just something better to be safe that you split it up. So the tanks are just gonna go and run to the boss. And I forgot to turn auto run on because I'm an idiot. You're supposed to turn auto run on here because you want to spawn the thought harvesters. Um, but again, this is why I'm convinced that it goes in the tanks because like I made the mistake there of not putting on auto run, but a lot of people did consistently, and the thought harvesters were always in melee. Anyway, this is triple combust. I'm assisting with the cleave here. It's probably not needed, but better safe than sorry. It's just like 5 or 6, beast cleaves. Okay, so we stack up here, and it's the same as the first one with barrier. No darkness here though. So we're gonna single neck. So Zerkin's necking here as soon as this damage goes out because we're all soaking this and we have another neck. So you take it, instant neck, And what I'm doing is you see the barrier, I'm on the left. Like these guys are kind of like this is not good. There's here to here is 5 yards. I have 5 yards less to run. So we're on the left side of the barrier. Wind rush. And that's perfectly timed wind rush. Wind rush lasts 15 seconds. All right, so we're going to use that again. And we kind of have assigned spots, but not really. So like I know I'm in the middle probably somewhere. So I'm going to get in the mid, I'm going to let people adjust, and I'm just going to move right because we have so much room. Like the way we did P2 was so efficient that we have so much room to mess up. Um, and then this wind rush is still up, and you have to beat these beams right. So like this is the most favorable spawn. They can spawn like here, but these guys made it. I kind of disagree with their decision, but it doesn't really matter. But again, boom, we get the wind rush again. That's really OP. And we're all going to stack in here just like Anguish 2, and we're going to get the SLT, and then we're going to go right. So this is why I kind of disagree. They're not going to get the DR from this. Anyway, we're going to go right, and there's going to be no one in melee. All right, so this is important. We want to leave all the space open. So again, I know that was not good, but it's okay. I know I moved away, which is good, but the main important here is just drop right now on the boss. And I'm aware that I'm probably in the middle somewhere. I got there a little late. Okay, I just moved to the left a little. Anyway, Paranoia comes out, and this is the same one as the Paranoia in P2. So instead of saying push right, push right, push right, now we're saying push left, push left, push left to give people room. I get an easy spawn again, and we get the good RNG here, so we can move into the boss, and the majority of the melee can hit the boss. So we're calling push left here, as you see, because we need to let 2 rows in, and these guys need room. Here's the last group. So we push left, and we get enough people in. Again, I barb shot at the last second. Let's see if I get it off. Nope, that time I missed. It's not a huge deal. Anyway, it's Anguish right again. So here it's like literally use everything. I'm gonna exil on Healthstone. I hold my health pot, and I survival here. So I've got a lot of shit going. Yep, exil, Healthstone, full health. Don't need to use health pot. We're good. Unsure. So this is immunes. Again, this is every single immune. So the reason you 10 immunes is for P2. You have immune during anguish, and then you have immune during it's like immune during anguish plus the fact that you have that super tight beam, and then you have immune paranoia. So that's why you need 10 immunes or 9 if you want to use the other trick. So here we can use every immune. So every immune is going to get in, and we're going to hold it for this anguish cast. The demon hunter ready meta. That's not good. So this anguish is going to go off, and I'm still going to hold my immune, and that's where the demon hunter should meta. So I think he just forgot. So I don't get the anguish. I'm just good, and they're just going to go drop it behind the group. And I don't know how people die here, especially that he was like part of the immune group. That's kind of weird, but I would have to look at the logs. Anyway, they're going to drop behind the group, and we want to get to the right of these beams. So this is kind of a hard spawn because now it's going to compact everyone into this little pizza, which is probably why you're going to see people die here. They're going to cleave each other. 1, 2. All right, so we have all our reses though. So he onks, and we get double res up. Now, the tanks are baiting the Thought Harvesters out here. If the tanks are here, that's very bad, because now we're just going to go insane, pop loss, and burn the boss. The reason I'm back here and not with the group is because I know I have a cape proc up, or cape CD up, but just in case that I get double I, which happens sometimes, I used my cape for the first one, and then the second one came up. I just like wanted to see if I could bait an eye, and I would do this most pulls, and I actually think I do get it this pull. Yeah, I baited an eye here, which was nice. Anyway, we're stacking up for Paranoia, and then we should be way more stacked than this, but like we've only been here once before with like 10 people alive. And these thoughts are like they should be farther back, but again, like we haven't really, we're here. We get 20 seconds to nuke the boss. Beams are gonna spawn. You have to make a read. Okay, so this is kind of a crap read, but it's not too bad, and we're just gonna push right as a group. People are taking damage because their paranoia partners are too far away. That's why you have to stay more stacked. And the boss is gonna go down here. So One thing to note is P1, what are you damaging? Your sanity matters a lot. P2, your sanity matters a little, but do paranoia, just run to your partner. Don't stand in anguish. Don't run over like 10 people with paranoia, you'll be fine. P3, your paranoia like barely even matter, or your sanity doesn't even matter. Like run over everyone to get the paranoia down. Um, you're going insane anyway, so if you're sitting at like 5 sanity, like you could literally do that phase with 5 sanity if you just don't soak the first thoughts. Like it's so easy. Um, the challenges of this fight. I mean, like I kind of low key like the fight if P1 was shorter. Um, just consistency in P1, making sure people didn't die. That like this stuff would kill people, paranoia would kill people, psychist groups would mess up. Like it was such a dance. P2 is all like, where are you gonna stand? What is your like soak assignment? Like where are you gonna stand for beams? Where are you gonna stand with for anguish? Like that's all what P2 is. And P3 is more like, okay, we're gonna burn the boss with easier anguishes, and we're just gonna stay alive by maximize boss DPS. I think it took us like 240-ish pulls, which I know guilds kill it in like 140 to 150. We're not those guilds. We only raid 9-ish. Sometimes we add days. I think we did like 3 extra days this tier, which is about normal. Um, but a lot of guilds, they can raid more or they can spend more time on the game, and we just can't. A comp was a little scuffed. The boss damage, again, right? This is what mattered, like the whole fight. So anyone who's, high on this list is like doing pretty well, and you can be like, oh, Ellie Shaman's crap. Okay, fourth on boss damage. Marsh did way less than 30k less than Banchers. Okay, but he was like equal in boss damage, right? So mages are really, really good in a sense that they control the fight. More mages, the better. If I could take 5, I would. Then I'd like put the rest of the raid with a bunch of single target blasters. But you gotta do what you have to do um to get it done. It's like, why is a Shadow Priest number one? Like that's just something that he committed to in the fight. And to put things in perspective, we had, every anguish set. So like I wasn't really here every time, but I knew I was in here ish. And depending on all the factors, you just adapt and go. Um, Other things to look for, you know, dot damage and all that stuff, right? So, our tank is number 2. Like, sure, we assisted. Like, my beast cleaved a lot, but I did really bad pet management here because my stomp wasn't hitting it. So that pull, I was just like really bad at micromanaging my pet. But this is a lot of passive stuff for tanks number 2. This guy was probably got a fat ignite, 8 million ignite, 6 million ignite, 6 million ignite. Just random chaos bolt, not random, but chaos bolting, rampage. I mean, this is all passive. He did some execute on it, probably when we were calling the kill one. But again, assignments for spike tentacles and psychus damage. So look at this. These are all group 2 people. Psychus 2, psychus 2, psychus 2, psychus 2, 1, 1, 1, 2, 1. Like psychus 2 is way harder to learn, easier to execute when you've learned it. P1 is like an absolute cluster. Like the first Psychus group, like fires can be everywhere. Psychophages can flank you. Like it's not, it's easier overall, but once you have P2 down, like the second Psychus group down, you're good. And we used a Blood Death Knight in the first one and a Monk on the second one, mostly just for the control on the outside. So I wasn't there with the Monk, but that's mostly for outside group one. So synapse damage, he's carrying, like, these guys are just slapping synapses in group two, right? Anyway, that's everything for my breakdown. I know the quality wasn't amazing. I wanted to do one of these for like tiers and tiers and tiers, but I've never had the time, and I just said screw it, I'm gonna do it this time, and I did. Um, anyway, I am out. Peace.